this AKA interview. RIP Nellie Tembe. Let's start off there. Yeah, you watched it last night. I watched it on Saturday. Let's start off. Firstly, what were you first looking forward to? Let's keep it at that. Firstly, what were you when you watched the interview? What were you looking forward to seeing?
I was looking forward.
Oh, here I should say.
I was looking forward to seeing or hear AKA tell us what led to Nellie's death, and I didn't get that. Yeah. So yeah.
So the narrative that has been around that it was suicide. She jumped off. You still wanted to hear something around that when you were watching the interview,
and I didn't.
All right. Okay. What else? Is that all?
I think AKA didn't say much. He didn't say
before we get to the interview. I want to know, what were you looking forward to?
I was looking forward to.
What did you want when you heard AKA was doing an interview?
Okay,
you said, "Boom! I want to know what happened that night." What else did you want to know?
An insight into the relationship.
Insight into the relationship.
Yeah.
Wow. Why would you want to know that?
Tell us the backstory of their relationship so I can understand what led to that particular morning or that particular evening that led to the morning. Yeah. So it's like I was looking for a movie script. Let me loosely put it that way. A build up, right? Give me context, give me an insight and build me up, and then tell me, okay, for throughout everything, this and this and this and this that happened, all of this boiled down to that day, and so and so and so happened that day, and then boom, Nellie left us.
I think most of us were looking forward to understand what happened on the night. I think just to further on your point, we all wanted to know, because of all the media reporting and all the friends saying things, especially now that she's gone, about how the relationship was and how stressful the relationship was for her and how abusive, supposedly. So I wanted to find out that, was AKA going to confirm those things, or was he going to deny those things? And if he denied those things, did he have a reasonable explanation to why people keep on saying this was a very abusive and stressful and very hectic relationship? So for me, I also didn't get some of the stuff. So let's jump into it. First and foremost, the interview starts. By the way, the guy who did the interview, Thembekile, one of the best that we have, and one of the best up and coming journalists that we have. Man, I want to give him his props in terms of what he's done. I know him from ENCA as well as 5FM. He's part of the Anele team. So
94.7.
94.7. Sorry, not 5FM. But it's part of Anele's team on 94.7. So I want to give him his props because I know this is a difficult topic and a difficult conversation to have with AKA, especially that a lot of us have got our own ideas of where he fits into the story. So for him to be very professional, I really enjoyed some of the things that he did and some of the questions that he posed. Even though I think he missed some of the things that I wanted to find out, but we'll get into that. But overall, the professionalism, the sticking to the story type of thing, and giving AKA some sort of platform to actually answer the difficult questions, I actually enjoyed that. So I want to put that out first before we get into it.
I kind of have a different view on it in terms of Thembekile. I think there's like you said, there were other questions that he was supposed to ask, but because at some point in the interview, I picked up that this guy might have his he's emotionally connected to this. Because if you watch him throughout the interview, you'd see there were times where he was swallowing his words. Like you could tell that he's
okay. You have to give an example, because if you're saying it felt like he was emotionally
when
that hold on, that is that's an indictment on professionalism, because you can't be emotionally involved in a subject that you're trying to properly get answers for. So I think it's only fair to say this is what happened that led me to think that he felt it's a little bit emotionally involved.
Okay, when he asked Keenan about the physical altercations about it, he didn't go further into asking him, but you say no, but we have pictures of Nellie bruised. He didn't even get to the pictures of Nellie bruised. He just asked AKA, was there physical altercations in your relationship? And AKA just said no.
So in that instance, couldn't it be maybe he just forgot to ask the question?
You don't. There were points where he brought out the breaking of the door.
Yeah.
How can you bring up breaking down of the door and forget the pictures?
Okay, so I don't really want to stick on this point a lot, but what I'm trying to get from you, Merv, is if you say you feel he was emotionally involved, what the examples you're giving me now is maybe a sort of lack of follow-up questions, not really a lack of you feeling that you're part of the story. That's what's illustrating to me. So hence I'm asking you that if you feel like that, then again, this is a professional man. I've got high regard for him, and hence I'm saying I want to give him the benefit of doubt until you say something and say no. He was biased here. That's where, because that's what you basically going to. You're saying he was biased here, and I'm saying, if he forgot to ask about the bruises, or he forgot, because I think there's a picture with the bruises.
The bruises.
If he forgot to ask about the bruises, giving him the benefit of the doubt, can't we say that maybe with a whole lot of information that was going on, the interview itself, it was a deep interview, because you also don't want to seem like a cold-blooded, interviewer, So can't we say that for that?
I guess we can.
Yeah, well,
because
because it's major to say someone like once you start flirting, once you start flirting with being biased, you have to have like something to say on this. There is no way. You understand? There is no way that this guy overlook this. There is no way, or there's no way you can. Do you understand? It has to be like so clear cut. It has to be like so black and white. So hence I'm saying I'm not pressing you to say I disagree. I'm just saying give me what you saw and let's discuss it. Because me personally, I feel he missed some things, but it wasn't intentional. He wasn't biased intentionally if it meant he was biased.
I get you.
Yeah, well.
I get you. Oh, man, it was okay. I didn't get much. Like I said, there was some.
So you're fine now with this interview style?
Yeah. Okay, I'm fine.
All
now.
right. Okay.
Clear that up.
So let's start off. The whole story about we're gonna break it up into sections. So let's talk about the evening when he spoke about the evening. What did you feel, and what is the story that you found there that you feel was conveyed or not conveyed?
Like I said, the evening before, because remember everything happened in the morning, and he said the evening before they had a big fight, he decided to book himself in the different room.
He didn't book himself in this different room.
He said he booked himself.
He said he decided that he was gonna remove himself. So then he went to call security because Anele was acting out. But him booking himself to a different room didn't happen.
Oh, okay. But look, and again, with the story, there are a lot of holes.
That's what I'm asking you about, nigga.
Like,
that's where we at. Tell me the holes that you see. That's where we at.
Where
That's where we at.
if you went and asked for help because this person is acting out, why didn't you come back with security? Because I can guarantee you, at a hotel, when you go ask for help.
But Merv, he didn't leave the room. He called. So what do you mean he should have come back with security?
He said he removed himself from the
room, not the apartment. So he didn't leave the apartment. So Anele was in the lounge or whatever. Okay. He went to the bathroom to make a call.
Okay.
So he didn't leave. So it's like me here.
We're fighting here.
We're fighting here. I can go to my bedroom or bathroom. Mm-hmm. I'm removing myself from here, but that doesn't mean that I've left to go to face security.
Physically call security. Jesus. Okay, so he said security didn't come.
Yes, he said security didn't come.
He said security didn't come. And then boom bap, Anele jumps.
He didn't see Anele jump.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like boom bap, Anele jumps. He went to go.
So
look
wait,
for her.
I don't want to recall the story.
Yeah,
we're here to give commentary. What did you feel the holes were?
I feel this nigga was there when Anele jumped. He saw her jump, but he doesn't want to say.
Okay, why you feel that?
Because he kept on saying, I went to the balcony and I was saying, oh my God. Why is it that the first place you look at is the balcony down the
but Merv, he did say he went into the room, checked around the room. He didn't see Anele. Yeah? She was nowhere to be found. Then he went to the balcony after checking the room.
Why couldn't you just go out?
Go out where?
He said their friends was next door. Maybe she had went to her friend, to AKA's friend. Why was the balcony the first place he went to?
It wasn't the first place. He went.
Yeah,
to the room
after the room.
Yeah,
he checked in the room. Like after checking the room. Why couldn't you maybe go to the bathroom?
He was in the bathroom.
Okay, maybe the bedroom. And then after the bedroom, maybe this person had left the room. Maybe she went downstairs, or maybe she went to our friend next door. Why was the balcony the first place after checking for her in the wherever they were? Why was it the first place he checked?
Okay.
So my thing was, I think this nigga was there when he saw her jump. Like it was that thing of, because this was not the first time she had threatened to do this. When she went there, AK was like, you're playing, you won't do that. Up until he saw her get off the balcony rails.
Yeah, but then why would he lie about that? Because he's not involved in her jumping in this instance. So if I'm here and somebody says they're gonna kill themselves, they go to the balcony, they jump, I can actually tell the cops that's what happened. Why would he misrepresent that part? Well, if you feel that that's the way he was there when she jumped, why would he misrepresent that part? Because I feel you're innocent. You didn't push her. You didn't do anything to her. She did it on her own. So you can actually say, she walked past me, jumped, boom.
Because the question of why didn't you stop her would arise.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you guilty.
Yeah, it doesn't make you guilty, but in the court of what do you call public perception, or the public court, why didn't you? What someone is crying, someone is telling you they're going to kill themselves. Why didn't you step in and try to stop her? You see her go. You see her walk into the balcony. Why didn't you stop her physically?
I think he tried later on in the interview where he said she has threatened many times and she has never gone through with it. So could it be the fact that he also thought that she wouldn't go through with it?
Yeah, that's what I also thought, that like, okay, he saw her and he was like, she won't do that. This is not the first time. This is not the first scene. We've seen this before.
So you saying now we're getting to a point. You saying that aspect is not a gap. It's possible that he was there, but because she's threatened before, he was like, "Cook, do it, whatever."
Yeah.
So what I'm asking now is, behind that story is why would he lie about that?
Because if he had told the truth that he was there, he saw her jump, then the question would arise: why didn't you stop her? And
but
he wouldn't.
wait, but he's just explained that. He's explained that even though he's saying that he wasn't there. So I'm saying he's already got a reason to not. Hold on, don't cut me in my mouth. He's already got a reason. So why would he lie about something that? I mean, in my mind, it's reasonable to say if somebody keeps on every time we have a fight, somebody keeps on saying they're gonna jump, and they never ever jump. So it goes to reason to say, I can also say, okay, whatever, man. She's just going through her own things like as usual. So do it. I don't care. And I don't think if I'm getting asked why didn't I stop it and I give that reason, I'll be guilty of anything. Hence, I'm saying I don't think it's a big enough reason to misconstrue that situation and say it didn't happen as as you think happened. There's no loss to him because he's already got a reason, even though he says he wasn't there. But for me, as a thinking person, it makes perfect sense. What, you want to jump? Because I know you don't do it.
Exactly.
So why would he want to change that scenario? If even with public court, everyone who's reasonable, if you keep on saying you want to do something, you don't do it. We don't know when you want to actually do it. So it's reasonable to say, oh, well, she's just acting up, man. Fuck it. Go to my computer. Jump if you want to jump. Because I know you won't do it. So why would he, and I keep on emphasizing this, he's already got a reason which is reasonable to everybody. Everybody can understand that part. Why would he then change such a monumental thing to say he was not there?
Because he wants to be as far as possible from her jumping. He wants to remove himself. He wants to remove himself from the scene.
Okay, why though?
Like I said, he doesn't want, even though he has the reason, he doesn't want to be guilty in the public court. He wants to remove himself from there.
What else was holes for you?
The drug use.
No. Before we get to the drug use, we're talking about
the jumping.
That evening. So you're saying the drug use during that evening?
Yeah, during the evening.
Or you think there was drugs?
I think there was alcohol and drugs during that evening. Because if we go back to the story, he said they had a long fight, right? And I think we discussed this, was it yesterday? Yeah, where he said you can't have a fight for that long unless you are on something, maybe alcohol or drugs. And he said, no, there were no drugs involved, meaning they were sober.
Okay.
So I think he also lied about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Hence, even Thembekile asked him, have you ever indulged in drugs? And he said, I'm in this business, there are temptations. And yes, I have indulged in drugs before. I think Thembekile was trying to get it out of him that way.
Okay. So for me, honestly, I think what happened that evening is that these guys had a fight. Most probably got physical. And a mistake happened. I don't think that whatever happened was on purpose. I don't think if he was involved, it was on purpose that it will end like this. I think a mistake happened, whether she tripped, whether he pushed her. But I think, and I say that because he says he called security to come and assist. But when he realized that she had jumped over, he goes to his friends, right? So the question is, one, instead of calling security, why didn't you call your friends? Why was your first point of call security? Okay, cool. You've got your own reasons. Now a tragic thing has happened. Instead of calling security again, since your first point of call is security, why do you now go to your friends? Unless you feel that you needed to talk to your friends so that they can clean up. So you might have told your friends the truth and say, guys, it was a mistake. This happened and this happened, and now she's dead. And your friends were like, okay, let's go and check. Because I don't understand. You go to your friends, you see her downstairs, you go to your friends. Why don't you go downstairs? Why don't you go downstairs at reception? Guys, my wife has just jumped, boom, boom. What are your friends going to do? You get my point?
I get your point.
Why didn't you go downstairs immediately as soon as you laid your eyes on your wife lying on the stoop on the sidewalk? You yourself are meant to go there and check. He says his friends went down, they checked, and they said she was still breathing, but still he didn't go down. Like, why didn't you go down? That's a major question for me. Why didn't you go down?
Can I add on that? When they told him she was still alive, he disputed it.
Yeah. He said he thought they were pulling lying to him.
Why? Why would they do that?
I don't know, man.
Exactly.
I don't know. But the mere fact that he didn't go downstairs, I feel somewhere along the line that means he wanted his friends to clean up. He didn't want to go downstairs because he was part of the reason why she ended up there. Right? So that's the first one. The second one, in terms of the evening, he first says she walked past him and she said she's gonna kill herself but not jump. Later on in the interview, he says she walked past him and said she's gonna kill herself and jump. So it can be one of two things. Did she say she's gonna jump or did she say she's not gonna jump? Because that matters in terms of how you react to the threat. I'm going to kill myself. You're in the bedroom. Oh, well, there's no knife. There's no gun. But I'm going to kill myself and I'm going to the park and I'm saying I'm going to jump. That's a different matter because now the cause of death is right where she's going. You get my point? She's telling you what she's going to do. And you choose to go and make a phone call. You say your wife was suicidal. You say your wife was on medication. You say she's tried to attempt to kill herself many times. And she goes past you and tells you she's going to jump.
And you don't take it seriously.
And you don't take it seriously. You actually leave her. You go to make a phone call somewhere else. That's crazy. All right. Another thing that I didn't get. Personally, I'm not going to say the guy does drugs because I've never seen him does drugs. But there's many alleged media reports alluding to that. And I'm not sure if it was, because he didn't really say he did drugs. He said he's experimented or tried. He didn't say I used drugs. He said I experimented or tried to use drugs. Understand? I don't understand why would you want to distance yourself from something where a lot of people can be asked and verify something like that.
And to add on that, Thembekile said I think Thembekile asked him about how is he dealing with this, and he was like, I'm going to therapy, I'm praying more, and my therapist suggested that I take antidepressants, but I can't take antidepressants. Why wouldn't anyone who doesn't have a drug problem be advised not to take antidepressants.
Well, when you say drug problem, do you need antidepressants to come off drugs?
No. Like, remember, antidepressants are pills. Maybe if he's advised not to take antidepressants, they're afraid he might relapse. Because he said he can't take antidepressants.
Okay, well, so what? I'm trying to follow you.
So
what are you saying with that?
I'm adding to your alleged drug, reports in the media. And when...
Well, not in the... I won't say in the media, because now I'm going to ask... quote the
relevant...
I'm just saying that
source.
There's a lot of people that have said... I mean, we can just quote... Casper has said many times. He actually even calls them mad drugs. It's many incidents where a lot of people said, you know what, this guy is actually drugging himself and is drugging his career away. So it's something that a lot of people have mentioned. And as I'm saying, I don't really understand why he would deny something like that where there's people that can collaborate that thing.
That thing, yeah.
So,
okay. Back to what I was saying was, right now, let me say I'm depressed or I'm going through something that needs me to take antidepressants. Right?
Okay.
Doctors and psychiatrists would actually advise that I take that to calm me down.
Okay.
Right. But AKA says in the interview, he was advised, his psychiatrist told him to take antidepressants, but he was advised not to take them. He also doesn't want to take them.
So who advised him? What did he say?
He didn't say who advised him. He just said,
what I remember with that story, he said his psychiatrist is saying due to his mental state, he's going down that route of actually going to be taking antidepressants and all of that.
Yeah.
So, but he says he's trying to hold off on taking them. I didn't hear him say he was advised.
Why is he holding on to not to take them?
Because
he's depressed about this, right?
Yeah. I want to know. So what are you linking it to? What are you saying about that?
I'm linking it to the whole madragi thing. That if, or maybe he knows that if he takes antidepressants, he might, go into the drug route. He might take drugs.
So are you saying that if he takes antidepressants, he might find himself abusing the antidepressants?
Exactly,
or are you saying...
Abusing the antidepressants.
Abusing that... Oh,
exactly,
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, okay. All right. Another thing which didn't make sense to me is when he said he didn't remember why he broke the door down.
That was funny.
That to me, just doesn't make sense.
It is.
Something so huge and monumental... You don't remember why you broke the door down? Or are you like breaking doors down every day? There's so many, you're breaking so many doors down, you don't remember why this particular door. It doesn't make sense. Unless you're trying to, because I remember when the interview started, he was saying a lot of things are blurry. And which was a setup to not being accountable for some of the things that he did or supposedly did, or the actions he took on the nights. Because if you're saying my account of the events are blurry, it becomes very hard to pin you down to a particular story because you're going to be like, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, or maybe. So that plus the part where you say you can't remember why you broke the door down, unless you're saying if you remember clearly why you broke down, because now you're going to have a reason why you broke the door down. Excuse me. And you don't really want people to hear the reason why you broke the door down. Because if you're saying you remember clearly why it happened, then the next question is, why did you break the door down?
Yeah.
You understand? If we ask, why did you go to the bathroom instead of calling your friends? Because your friends could have been better placed to calm her down, because Bayamazi and all of that. Why would you call security instead of your friends? But if you start off with, my mind is fuzzy, it then allows you to put forward things that other people want to question, but they can't question now because you've already stated your mind is fuzzy.
Exactly.
You know? So for me, I think there was a hide and seek with a whole lot of the story. Like, the story about what happened, the story about the drugs, there was no need for you to twist. The story about violence, when he was asked, have you ever been violent? And then he says, define violence.
Define violence.
What the fucker is that?
Like, does he want Thembekile to give him a textbook explanation? No, everyone knows what violence is.
No. You see, that's the thing. He thinks he can outsmart the situation. By him asking what's violence, and Thembekile gives his definition of violence, that means he's only answering to Thembekile's definition of violence.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to answer the violence issue. He wants to answer the definition of Thembekile's violence. Mm-hmm. There's emotional violence, there's physical violence, there's mental violence, there's financial violence, there's a shitload of violence that you can quote. He knows what violence means, but he doesn't want to put his flag down and say, I was violent. So I want Thembekile to say, violence means hitting someone. Then I say, I didn't hit him.
Exactly.
Do you get my point? But you could have been emotionally violent, you could have been mentally violent, you could have been any other violence. But now, since you say what is violence, and Thembekile can only think of on the spot, think of physical. So you might have not physically abused her, but you could have abused her other ways. So you don't want to answer and like, it's so easy, dog. Just answer the question. And that ducking and diving also led me to say, this guy is trying to find a way, find the, what do they call it? Find that small part, that small hole where he can escape, right? The small part where he can escape. So, look, for me, I really think that the guy's in trouble. I really think that half the interview he spent trying to shift, trying to make himself as a victim, because now the cops are getting involved. Basically, in his mind, is also involved in this shit, and it's a conspiracy between the police and the Tembe to hang him for this. I really think, and then the other time he says, why is he not getting feedback and the Tembe family is getting feedback? How do you know the Tembe family is getting feedback? Because it's clear you all are not communicating. Unless you're throwing aspirations to say, I'm the victim here, I'm being prosecuted, or I'm being looked at as the guilty party, but no one is being honest with me. You know? So,
I think he, like you said, he's in trouble. He knows he's in trouble, and he's panicking. Like he said, he got questioned 3 times. Right? Someone who's innocent and someone whose story is straight doesn't get questioned more than two times. Right? So there's holes in his stories, and he's also scared that they're starting to ask people around him. Like he said, they asked DJ Zindle, they interviewed DJ Zindle. So he's panicking and he's trying to play the victim part.
Yeah. Right. And maybe in summary, let's go into this one. In summary of the story, why do you think he actually did this interview? I remember when I think 2 pods back, we were talking about that his management is fucking around because they are allowing this man to carry on as if life hasn't changed. He performed at the final, the Nedbank final, and then they've had to drop like 3 statements, in a space of a week because they're not on top of things. So I'll be honest, this interview came as a surprise to me. But the question is, why do you think at this time they chose to do the interview? Before you get to tell me if it was a good or bad idea, let's start with Why do you think they did the interview?
I think he thinks the Tembe family is trying to pin this on him, and he's trying to play the innocent, loving fiance, and which him and his team thinks is gonna play in his advantage if it goes to court, right? I think that's where they're going with this whole thing, because when he gets to court, he can just be like, "Your Honor, refer to the interview I did with this and this and this. I answered this question so and so and so." Right? He's trying to go that route because he thinks or he knows that they're after him and they want to pin this on him.
I get that, but I feel more that it's more of a financial thing. Yeah, I think the guy sees, because remember Cruz moved away from him. I was watching football again. I didn't see his ad yesterday, so I think Cruz, one of the main people that are working with him, are putting pressure. I think it's a money thing. I think he's getting squeezed. He can't perform because of this cloud. He tried to perform and there was a backlash. So I think he just wants to get back to normality as soon as possible. And the normality is, of course, the monetary, because he's losing a lot of money. Remember, we're coming from a pandemic where everything was locked down. So as soon as when things try and open up, he gets into this issue, So there's been a long time that he hasn't been making a lot of money or gigging the way he could have been. And now there's this issue. So even if the country is opening up, he can't do much because of the cloud. So I think for me, it's a monetary thing. I think that's why he did it. There's nothing else. I see him trying to sort of like make a narrative, but the narrative is for him to be able to go outside and actually perform and actually make money.
Yeah.
All right. It's not a narrative to clear his name per se. It's just, guys, I'm innocent. Let me come to your gigs. Let me do some features. Let me carry on with my life. Cruz, don't drop me. I'm innocent. For me, that's what I feel. That's why they did it. But in finality, do you think it was a good idea?
No, he should have just kept quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, let it play out. If it goes to court, whatever he was saying in the interview can be said in court.
Yeah.
Because right now he thought it was going. I think it will play bad for him in court if it goes to court. They can, because the court can always go refer to the video.
Yeah.
Right. So he should have just kept quiet. Yeah.
But you see, the other thing with these interviews is that people always say, if you're innocent and your story is tight, it doesn't matter where you tell the truth. It doesn't matter if you're telling it to the news guys. It doesn't matter if you're writing a thread on Twitter.
Yeah.
If your story is true and it's tight, you got nothing to worry about because it's gonna be consistent. For me, I also agree with you. You shouldn't have done it. And based on what I've just said now, the story is not consistent. And that's why you shouldn't have done it. Because if it was consistent, then it's got nothing to worry about. But we don't even know the 3 statements that is given to the cops. But just on this interview, we're already picking it apart. Why did you do this? Why didn't you do this? Why did you say this and then later on say this? Why this? Why that? So you start to get to the point where you say it's only a benefit if your story is constant.
Exactly.
But his story is not constant. And hence I'm saying he shouldn't have done it. And it's going to come back and bite him in the ass. It's going to come back and bite him in the ass. I know, going back to why they did it, I know there's some desperation. But for me personally, they should have carried on with their statements. Because if he feels, don't do the interview, do the statements. You know, like how Jacob Zuma writes statements when he wants to communicate his shit. 27 pages. Do the fucking statement. Because he started off by saying he wants to answer questions. There's people that have been asking. He wants to come forward and answer questions. So I think he knows the questions that were meant to be asked or that people wanted to be asked. He could have written that down. But him going up there, being asked, because another thing, they were going back and forth in terms of timelines. And I think that's why some of the things became, he lost his footing. Because it wasn't a straight line, the questioning. You know, okay, you all boarded a flight from Joburg. You went to Cape Town. You booked in. It wasn't like that. It was, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's talk about the drug. Oh, let's go back to the evening. Oh, let's talk about this. Oh, let's go there. You know? So I think he shouldn't have done it. I think another reason, which maybe I actually forgot, I think he wanted to paint himself as a victim, and hence this cops situation and how the investigation is going. He was very clear what he thought about it, and it was very clear that he felt he was being ill-treated. And I think he thought that was his trump card in terms of getting public sympathy. I don't think it worked. I don't think it worked at all. So, but yeah, man, it was really, really sad, and it's sad for the Tembe family. I think at the end of the program, there were like 3 quotes where the Tembe family actually disputed some of the things that he said during the interview, which I also think is nice from the producers, because they were given right of reply on some of the things that he was talking about. So that was professional shit, you know. But I think the man is under pressure financially. I think the man is under pressure professionally and career-wise. I'm not really sure if he'll ever get out of this mess. Whether he's proven innocent or guilty, I think there's a lot of people that have got legitimate questions on his story, on his version. Not even putting up another version, but on his version, that why did you do this? On your version. We're not saying you're lying. Okay, you are telling the truth, but on your version, this does not make sense.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm saying he's gonna be in a similar situation as Kelly Khumalo, where people just don't want to believe you because your version is so outlandish and ridiculous that people are just saying, you're making us dumb. We don't want to believe you.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
so I think he'll never get out of this one.
Nah, bro.
No matter what he does.
Because throughout the interview, I kept on telling myself, this is a PR stunt. Because there were questions where Thembekile would ask, and AKA would be like, no, we'll get to that. You can tell this guy, he rehearsed this. You know, he had possible questions written down, and he knew how to ask them. He knew how to answer them.
I think he was given the questions beforehand.
Yeah.
Because if you touch on that, there was a part where how they moved to the issue about Thembekile being at the funeral and actually speaking at the funeral and him not being able to speak at the funeral, that was introduced by what's the guy's name? Thembekile. It wasn't introduced by AKA. So now the question then is, how did Thembekile know that there was an issue? Because that was not in the media.
Exactly.
His unhappiness of how the investigation is going and his unhappiness about how the funeral arrangements were handled was not in the media. So there was prep beforehand. That's the impression I got from that sort of small thing. There was prep beforehand, and it can go to reason that there were prepared questions that they told him, this is what we're going to ask you, or these are the areas, even if maybe it's not the same, the questions exactly, these are the areas we're going to ask you about, so prepare yourself around these areas. And I think, like you say, there's a few things that Thembekile missed. One of the things, you know, like you say, the picture about the bruises, he didn't ask about the bruises. Some follow-up questions or some instances where he just let the one answer stay. You know, there was a part where he asked about drugs and alcohol. That were you guys doing drugs and what? You know, and AKA says no. I can't remember him going back to the evening and saying on this evening, particular evening, did you guys do alcohol and drugs? I don't also remember him asking, because AKA spoke about being examined by the cops. I don't know if he asked him, were blood samples taken? You know, so those questions are some of the questions that I think they slipped through. But again, going back to how we started the conversation, I don't think it was biasness. I just think it's a heavy, weighty interview. As much as the guy is talented, we all miss a few things. Overall, it was a good interview. It was a professional interview. But yeah, my final thoughts is shouldn't have happened, shouldn't have done it. They should have carried on with the statements. And I feel the guy is being squeezed. I feel he's under pressure. He's under pressure. The heat is on.
What do you think AK's? What's your view on AKA and Nellie's relationship? Like, how do you think? Like, how was it?
I feel. I mean, we went through this the previous part. I feel she was troubled. I feel with her being troubled and AKA living the rockstar lifestyle, as I quoted on the previous pod, it was a recipe and a cocktail for bad. You know, it basically, it's one of those people that at no point should be together. There are lifestyles, there are challenges of life, there are fears are just too big to be handled with kid gloves. They will cause an eruption. Those two things, they will cause an eruption. Look, they were, when she died, they had only been dating for like a year and 6 months or so. So we are talking about all this upheaval, all of this breaking of doors, all of this calling of cops, all of these things of her trying to commit, because he even said she's tried to commit suicide like 6 times. She wanted to jump out of the car. All of those things are in the space of a year.
Hey, bro.
You know, so how volatile, and hence I'm saying, I think they shouldn't have gotten together. I think, you know, in some instances I get, you know, people's personalities where, like a moth knows that flying to the light at some stage is going to kill it. But it keeps on going there because it feels good, it feels warm. But at the end of the day, it knows it's going to die. You know, maybe it's one of those situations where the up and down of the emotions was too irresistible for them to resist. I'm not sure why they got engaged. I think 22 is still young, very young. I think she still needed to grow as a person. I think she still needed to face her demons if she was suicidal and everything again, to be able to manage that situation of her life. And and in some way, how do we know if her being engaged actually even put pressure to her that she felt she was in a corner and couldn't escape, you know? And I think for a person, if it's true that she had so much mental issues, she really shouldn't have gotten to such a big commitment, which has pressurized. Now there's families involved. Now there's lobola. Now there's a big wedding being planned. You know, it can feel very claustrophobic, and you feel like you're in a corner, and you feel like you don't have control of your life, and everything is just happening to you, not that you are taking part in it, you know. And maybe those pressures also led to her feeling depressed, feeling under pressure, you know, and all of this stuff. So I don't feel they shouldn't have been together just because of what we've heard and how they are. Yeah.
I just think she was too young for him.
Yeah.
And they were one in the same people. And, you know, like I keep saying, misery loves company. They were one in the same, and like you said, it was just the recipe for disaster. You know, the challenges, she was like 22, AKA is in his 30s. You know, they deal with challenges differently. They're from two different generations. So it was just, it was meant to,
Anyway, I guess it's going to be RIP Nellie Tembe. And look, again, let's just hope that this thing is fast and quick, and everybody can get finality of the whole situation, man. I can imagine how the family is feeling. I can imagine how her friends are feeling. I can imagine how AKA's family is feeling, or even AKA. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty about the future, you know. So hopefully it gets to a point where everybody can move on, and then some finality with the issue. In either way, I'm not choosing any side. I don't give a damn about any side. But if everybody just gets the truth and people can move forward. Yeah.
Amen.